Hi, Duncan here again. I'm a bit tired. I just woke up. I had a late one last night. But today I want to talk about an experience that I had when I was a new believer. And I was reading Lamentations today. It's a book written by Jeremiah directly after his 52 chapter long tirade of woes against Babylon and the surrounding nations, and sandwiched in there are some wonderful prophecies of the branch and the Messiah who was to come. And anyway, it reminded me in chapter 3 where it talks about how it's good for a young man to bear the yoke in his youth and to bite the dust and humble himself, and it talks about God just bringing Jeremiah low, I guess, and bringing people low and then lifting them up and in his timing. And soon after I was a believer, I was reading. In fact, it was the book of Jeremiah actually, and God spoke to me through a scripture in there, and basically told me that my brother was going to become a Christian by the end of the year. Now, if you talk to my brother, he will tell you that he's always been a Christian, and that is, maybe he was, but he was like myself. He was pretty messed up, and he'd got himself into a lot of drugs, and he was pretty demonized, as I was, but maybe different demons, maybe the same ones, I don't know. And anyway, this one particular evening I came back to the family house. We were living with my mum at the time. My parents had split up and my brother was really depressed and done in. And this one evening there was just this real horrible sort of sense of darkness in the house. My brother was in bed and really depressed and done in, and I could really feel the darkness in the house, and I went in to talk to my brother, and he wanted to go and spend some time with the Jesus Army, and I said to him that we were going to get him there and get him sorted out, because he was manifesting a lot of darkness and looked really messed up. And as I said that to him, as he was lying in bed, he turned over and a demon spoke to me through him and said, "I will do him in before you get a chance to do that," right? And it really freaked me out. And I immediately got on the phone and started phoning people to pray. And I got the Jesus Army who he'd been to see. I got them praying, and they know how to pray. And I was just going to go and phone Tracy, my girlfriend at the time. And I went into my mum's room, picked up the hand receiver, and was just about to phone her. And I saw this flash of light go over the house, the whole house, and I saw an arc of light go in front of me. I was like, and I thought, whoa, what is that? And I looked out the window to see if the halogen light had gone on at the back. We had a long garden that went down to a park, and you put this light on so you could go and take the dogs for a walk in the park. But the light hadn't come on, and then I kind of realised it was an arc and a flash of angelic light, and the presence of God just dropped in the house, right? It went from dark, foreboding, to presence of God, right? Just drops as these people were praying, and God intervenes. And I get my brother out of bed and bring him into my room, and we just start to worship Jesus, and as we do, the presence just gets thicker and thicker and thicker. My brother glowed white in front of me. I mean, he got so filled with the Spirit, he just under his skin, he was just white, and he spoke in tongues for the first time, and I cast quite a lot of demons out of him. And there was one I couldn't get rid of, and it was, and he says to me, "Can you get this one out of me?" And he's sort of lying on his back, and this thing is going up and down his back to his bum, and then up and down his spine. For some reason, I couldn't get it out. I don't know why. Anyway, I mean, the experience was so remarkable for us both, and I was just so in awe of God's just amazing intervention and His grace there. I couldn't help, and I felt like I could perceive angelic presences sort of there in the room, and I just couldn't help as I faced what felt like one of these presences, or just the presence of God. I just gave myself up to God in a whole new way. And you know, encounters with God like that do that for us. We can't help but surrender more when we encounter God afresh. And as I gave myself up to Him, and I was the prayer from my heart was, you know, whatever it takes for you to do in me what you need to do it. I give myself to you completely. I mean, He had me, and I fell back on my bed, and I could feel things shifting around on the inside of me as God came in on a deeper level. And then the next day I went to a church meeting in a local Baptist church, which was really flipping horrible, really stiff and controlling. And they would sort of say things, you know, I had all the pews and stuff, and they would say, we're going to sit down to worship for this song, and then we'll stand for this one. And in my spirit as a young believer, I just knew this was flipping wrong. It was like, you can't tell people whether they're going to sit down or stand up. It was just like, you got to let people decide for themselves how they want to respond to God, especially in a time of worship like that. You know, I'd been born again into a church that had quite a lot of liberty in Cyprus, and then come back and had to deal with all this nonsense. Anyway, I was foolish in my rebellion, I guess it was, although it was righteous, but I was foolish in it. I didn't really understand, and when they'd say sit down, I'd stand up, and when they would say we're going to stand up, I don't know if I sat down, I probably did, but one time when I stood up and everybody was sitting down to worship, I got battered down into my seat and then onto my knees, and after that time I felt like a wounding. I felt like some arrow or something go right through me, and you know, after that time, and it was definitely connected with surrendering myself to God, I was I was oppressed every day ever since. I mean, I was absolutely in despair too, because I didn't know what was going on, or how or why the enemy could do this to me. And you know, I'd get people to pray for me, and I'd just feel the spiritual heaviness, particularly on my left side, all the time after that. And you know, like, I had to spend hours and hours, like, just sitting in the presence of God, reading the Bible, just being still before God, just to get enough peace and enough rest to be able to function as a human being. And I remember researching, reading, trying to understand how and why this could happen to a Christian. I mean, I was full out for God, you know, and I wasn't living in sin. I'd given up drinking and everything. I'd still struggle sexually and stuff, you know, as a young man does, you know, and a single man and all the rest of it. And it wasn't until a lot of years later that I understood that God will sometimes allow the carnal nature and the darkness in you or in a person to be cursed in order to usher us into the shelter of the Most High. And I think God allowed that. I think God allowed the enemy to oppress me so that I would take on the nature of Christ, and that is the only way to get free. I still struggle. I still don't always feel free, but I understand the root of it now, that it is rooted in my carnal nature and my carnal thinking, and just that knowledge, I guess, helps. So my brother still walks with God, which is great. He struggles in loads of ways, just like I do. And yeah, I don't know, I just wanted to share that one with you. And